If your digital landscape has recently undergone a massive, undeniable transformation, you are far from alone. Across almost every social media platform, a sudden and relentless wave of high-octane content has taken over the global algorithm. Audiences worldwide are finding their feeds completely saturated with stylized video edits of Charles Leclerc navigating the historic streets of Europe. Heartwarming clips showcasing the camaraderie and playful bromance between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and highly curated glimpses into the sophisticated fashion choices of figures like Alexandra Saint-Malo. Even the broader realms of pop culture and mainstream entertainment media have found themselves pulled into this orbit, with high-profile relationships and paddock appearances triggering endless public discourse. It feels as though an entire global community has collectively awakened to a brand new obsession, one that beautifully blends the raw adrenaline of elite competition with the polished aesthetic of modern high fashion and celebrity culture. This cultural phenomenon has managed to recruit an entirely new demographic of passionate followers, many of whom were introduced to this world not through traditional sports broadcasting, but through immersive documentary series like Netflix's Drive to Survive, viral internet trends, or a growing fascination with the lifestyle, elegance, and personal narratives surrounding the athletes and their inner circles. What once felt like a highly specialized, somewhat insular international racing circuit has suddenly evolved into the internet's richest and most unavoidable global sensation. Captivating millions who previously had very little interest in motorsports, behind the shimmering curtain of this glamorous lifestyle lies an ecosystem that is profoundly wilder, more volatile, and infinitely more complex than it appears on a smartphone screen. For the uninitiated, it is easy to look at the surface and see nothing more than incredibly expensive machines traveling at ridiculous speeds around a paved circuit. However, those who look closer quickly realize that the true allure of this world is found in the intense human drama, the staggering financial investments, and the ruthless political maneuvering that happens away from the cameras. It is a universe where fortunes are risked on a single turn, where lifelong friendships are tested in the crucible of competition, and where the line between global triumph and absolute devastation is measured in millimeters. To truly understand why this collective obsession has taken such a firm grip on modern culture, one must look past the luxury yachts of Monaco, the celebrity-filled paddocks of Miami, and the viral social media trends. We must begin to untangle the intricate tapestry of strategy, engineering, and sheer human endurance that defines this high-stakes environment. Before we dive deep into the fascinating mechanics of how this global empire operates, ensure that you are fully connected with us by joining our community and staying tuned for the chapters ahead as we uncover the secrets of this intense universe. By peeling back these layers, we begin to see that this is not just a sport but a multi-layered reality show operating at 200 miles per hour, where every single participant is fighting for survival in an environment that offers absolutely no room for error. To understand the true foundation of this global obsession, one must comprehend exactly what Formula One represents at its core. It is the absolute pinnacle of international single-seater racing, a designation that carries an immense amount of prestige and mechanical complexity. The term single-seater means exactly what it implies, an individual driver strapped into a highly customized open-wheel machine that represents the absolute bleeding edge of automotive technology. To provide some necessary context for those more familiar with traditional American motorsports, it is helpful to contrast this discipline with other famous racing categories. While stock car racing epitomized by NASCAR brings to mind the heavy, full-bodied vehicles, oval tracks, and high-contact energy popularized by American pop culture icons, and while IndyCar represents the rugged, high-speed thrill of historic events like the Indianapolis 500, Formula One operates in an entirely different stratosphere of luxury, international prestige, and engineering sophistication. It is the world of iconic European street circuits, billionaires networking in exclusive hospitality suites, and major Hollywood productions capturing the high-stakes reality of the paddock. The global scale of a modern season is staggering, encompassing 24 race weekends distributed across 5 separate continents. This relentless schedule demands that teams and drivers constantly cross oceans, battle extreme jet lag, and adapt instantaneously to wildly varying climates and atmospheric conditions. A single race can demand anywhere from 44 to 78 laps, depending entirely on the specific layout of the circuit, with the total distance covering just over 305 kilometers. Within that 90-minute to 3-hour window, there is no room for hesitation. As a single miscalculation can instantly destroy a multi-million-dollar weekend, the sheer physical reality of navigating these machines is enough to overwhelm even the most seasoned elite athletes. Drivers are forced to perform under conditions of extreme heat, blinding rain, and shifting track elevations, controlling vehicles that are constantly fighting the laws of physics. The environment inside the cockpit is less like a traditional car and more like a cramped, high-pressure panic room where the temperature can easily soar past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The drivers are not just steering, they are managing complex software systems, adjusting mechanical balances, communicating constantly with teams of engineers, and anticipating the movements of their rivals at speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour. It is a mesmerizing combination of high-speed chess and survival, where a single fraction of a second represents the difference between a glorious victory and a catastrophic weekend. As we prepare to explore the inner workings of the elite teams, the staggering financial investments, and the internal rivalries that threaten to tear these organizations apart from the inside, the stage is set for a deeper revelation. The glitz and glamour that draw millions of viewers to their screens are entirely real, but they are paid for with blood, sweat, and an unforgiving competitive intensity that makes this sport one of the most brutal and fascinating spectacles on the face of the earth. Step directly behind the velvet ropes of the paddock, and you enter a ruthless corporate ecosystem where 11 elite teams fight for global dominance, each fielding exactly 2 drivers. This creates an unbelievably exclusive landscape where only 22 full-time racing seats exist in the entire world, making the competition for these positions absolutely cutthroat. To choose a team is to align yourself with a distinct cultural philosophy, a specific historical legacy, and a mountain of internal drama. Consider Scuderia Ferrari, the legendary Italian outfit draped in historic scarlet red, whose devoted supporters, known globally as the Tifosi, elevate the brand to the level of a secular religion. In Italy, it is commonly said that there are 2 absolute institutions, the Catholic Church and the racing empire founded by Enzo Ferrari. In sharp contrast, McLaren Racing brings a youthful, vibrant, and chronically online energy to the grid, capturing the imagination of a digital generation through clever social media presence and charismatic young stars. Then there is Red Bull Racing, a dominant, calculated powerhouse that has frequently adopted a villain-coded, uncompromising approach to winning at all costs. Mercedes-AMG follows a philosophy of corporate precision, absolute engineering perfection, and a legacy built on an era of historic dominance. Meanwhile, outfits like Williams Racing carry the proud, endearing weight of old-school underdog energy that commands deep respect from purists. When a fan chooses an alliance, they are not simply picking a favorite color palette, they are fully inheriting a lifestyle, a history, and an ongoing narrative filled with political tension and corporate warfare. Because the supply of seats is so incredibly limited, the driver market operates with a level of brutality that is rarely witnessed in traditional team sports. Athletes can be dropped mid-season, demoted to junior teams, bought out of multi-million-dollar contracts, or abruptly replaced by younger, more marketable, or heavily sponsored prospects without a single moment of hesitation. This intense pressure cooker is further complicated by a massive, highly scrutinized salary disparity across the grid. Financial analysis estimates that transcendent superstars at the top of the mountain, like Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, command astronomical on-track earnings that comfortably clear $70 million annually, with stars like Lando Norris rapidly climbing into the upper echelons of sports wealth. Meanwhile, those fighting at the back of the grid or operating under developmental contracts might bring home between $500,000 and $1 million. A stark contrast that highlights the extreme stratification within the exact same garage. This vast economic divide is precisely why the annual contract negotiation period, colorfully known as silly season, transforms into a dramatic months-long saga of rumors, media leaks, and backroom betrayals. A driver who is celebrated as the cherished face of a championship-winning organization one weekend can find themselves wearing the colors of a struggling midfield team the next. Forced to reinvent their career while racing directly against the very engineers and executives who used to possess intimate knowledge of their driving style, this instability underscores the fundamental truth that every beginner must internalize to truly appreciate the sport. The machinery is absolutely not equal. Unlike spec racing series where every competitor utilizes identical hardware, Each team designs, manufactures, and develops its own unique aerodynamic and mechanical package from scratch within a rigid set of technical regulations. Consequently, an exceptionally talented driver trapped in an aerodynamically deficient car will find it physically impossible to win a race, while an average driver piloting a mechanical masterpiece enjoys a massive built-in structural advantage. This reality turns the engineering department into the true heart of the enterprise, where the financial stakes are nothing short of ridiculous. Although a strict cost cap limits annual performance spending to approximately $215 million per team, the actual valuation of these individual engineering marvels remains mind-boggling. Industry estimates place the construction cost of a single vehicle at roughly $16 million, with the highly complex hybrid power unit alone absorbing over $7 million of that total. A highly specialized carbon fiber steering wheel costs upwards of $50,000, while a single front wing assembly demands an investment of nearly $200,000. When a viewer witnesses a driver lightly clip a concrete barrier and shatter a wing, they are not just watching a minor racing incident, they are watching a massive fortune vanish in real time, triggering furious debates regarding mechanical upgrades and whether a champion is truly the greatest driver alive or simply fortunate enough to occupy the best seat. Climbing inside that vehicle reveals an environment that resembles a 1700-pound panic room rather than a traditional sports car. From the comfort of a living room television, the act of driving fast can appear deceptive, smooth, and almost effortless, but the reality inside the cockpit is a grueling display of physical torture and sensory overload. The driver is tightly strapped into a carbon fiber tub, experiencing extreme gravitational forces while simultaneously adjusting dozens of individual settings on a spaceship-like steering wheel, managing tire degradation, calculating energy recovery systems, and defending against aggressive overtaking maneuvers at 200 miles per hour. There is no luxury of air conditioning, and temperatures inside the racing suit frequently exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Throughout this entire ordeal, the driver is subjected to the relentless voice of their race engineer streaming directly into their helmet, delivering constant updates regarding lap time gaps, upcoming pit stop strategies, changing weather fronts, and urgent mechanical adjustments. These high-stress audio exchanges are the source of endless viral content, exposing the unfiltered humanity of the athletes as they scream in frustration, apologize for catastrophic mistakes, or trade sarcastic barbs with their pit wall. Yet, beneath the entertainment value lies the ever-present reality of danger, where traveling inches from concrete walls at triple-digit speeds means that a mechanical failure or a single microsecond of distraction can permanently alter a life, ensuring that the ultimate price is always lingering just beneath the surface. To fully appreciate the immense sacrifice required to pilot these machines, one must look beyond the strategy boards and examine the extraordinary physical toll inflicted on the human body. Because the drivers spend the entire race weekend sitting down, casual observers frequently fall into the trap of assuming that this discipline is far less physically demanding than traditional field sports. This assumption could not be further from the truth. The physical degradation experienced over the course of a single Grand Prix is staggering, with athletes routinely losing between 2 and 4 kilograms of fluid, burning through upwards of 1,500 calories, and shedding up to 5% of their total body weight in under 2 hours of competition. This weight loss is so critical to the performance metrics of the vehicle that the governing body enforces a strict minimum reference weight of 82 kilograms for the driver and their safety equipment, preventing shorter competitors from gaining an unfair aerodynamic advantage through extreme weight reduction. Furthermore, the extreme cornering speeds subject the drivers to immense gravitational forces that try to violently rip their heads from their shoulders. This necessitates an incredibly specialized training regime focusing almost entirely on the neck muscles. While soccer players build their legs and baseball players develop their arms, these racers construct massive, highly reinforced necks using resistance bands, weighted helmets, and specialized conditioning machines that resemble medieval torture devices. Even the most basic human necessities become logistical challenges, leading to the infamous reality of drivers occasionally being forced to relieve themselves directly into their fire-retardant racing suits mid-race, utilizing onboard hydration tubes just to stay conscious through the exhausting ordeal. This physical warfare reaches its absolute climax during a standard race weekend structure, which carefully builds tension across 3 distinct phases. Friday is dedicated to free practice sessions, providing the engineering departments with crucial track time to experiment with mechanical setups, evaluate tire degradation, and fine-tune aerodynamic balances. Saturday introduces the high-pressure environment of qualifying, where the field is progressively narrowed down in a series of knockout sessions as drivers attempt to lay down a single, flawless lap to secure their starting positions on the grid. Sunday is the ultimate destination, a complex puzzle where raw speed must be perfectly balanced against strategic pit stops, tire preservation, unpredictable weather anomalies, track penalties, and the constant threat of safety cars. The difficulty is magnified by the distinct personalities of the historic circuits themselves, ranging from the impossibly narrow, low-speed concrete canyons of Monaco, where overtaking is virtually impossible, to the glitzy, high-pressure street tracks of Miami and Las Vegas, where corporate entertainment and influencer culture reach their peak. There is the brutal, energy-sapping heat of the Singapore night race and the historic asphalt of Monza, where the fanatical Ferrari supporters create an intimidating wall of sound. Amidst this chaos, the execution of a pit stop represents one of the most breathtaking displays of human synchronization on Earth. A crew of over 20 mechanics must change all 4 tires in a window of time that defies human perception, with the absolute world record sitting at a mind-boggling 1.8 seconds, proving that a single loose wheel nut can instantly obliterate an entire weekend of work. This intense weekend structure serves 2 separate masters, as the sport operates with a unique dual championship system that shapes the long-term destiny of every organization on the grid. The first is the World Drivers' Championship, the highly coveted individual prize that captures the public imagination and cements a driver's name into the history books. Points are distributed systematically to the top 10 finishers of each Grand Prix, with a race victory rewarding 25 points to the winner. The second and arguably more impactful title from a corporate perspective is the Constructors' Championship, which aggregates the total points scored by both vehicles representing the same manufacturer. This team-focused championship is the true lifeblood of the paddock, directly dictating the distribution of hundreds of millions of dollars in official prize money, determining garage hierarchy, and establishing commercial leverage for global sponsorship deals. Because a winning constructor can command payouts exceeding $175 million while a bottom-tier team might receive less than half that amount, the internal dynamics between teammates become incredibly complicated. In traditional sports, a teammate is an ally working toward a common goal, but here, your teammate is simultaneously your most dangerous rival. They are the only other person on Earth piloting identical machinery, meaning their performance serves as the definitive baseline metric for your own talent. This structural reality creates immense psychological warfare inside the garages, often leading to fierce team orders where one driver is explicitly instructed to sacrifice their own race position to benefit the preferred championship contender. This unforgiving environment is the final destination of a pipeline that demands total dedication from early childhood, creating a barrier to entry that is almost impossible to overcome. The vast majority of modern racers begin their journey in international karting championships at 4 or 5 years of age, sacrificing a traditional childhood to climb through the highly competitive ranks of Formula 4, Formula 3, and Formula 2. To even be considered for the pinnacle of the sport, an athlete must accumulate 40 points across these junior categories to earn an official FIA superlicense, all while navigating an astronomical financial landscape where securing a junior racing seat can demand millions of dollars in personal family wealth, corporate sponsorship, or manufacturer academy backing before a driver is even legally old enough to operate a standard road vehicle. This multi-layered combination of extreme wealth, athletic excellence, and high-fashion aesthetics has ultimately transformed the sport into a global lifestyle brand. The paddock has evolved into an international fashion runway, anchored by the luxury tax haven of Monaco, where the private lives of the drivers and their partners are intensely chronicled by millions of digital followers. Amplified by mainstream media investments, Hollywood productions, and high-profile celebrity acquisitions, the sport has successfully transcended its traditional motorsport origins. It now stands as an elite, high-stakes traveling circus, an unmissable cultural phenomenon where extreme human drama and cutting-edge engineering collide at 200 miles per hour, ensuring that the world cannot look away.